A
Thanks,
warning
Harris.
now from the head of the Internal Revenue Service. The tax agency is nowhere near ready for some of the big changes coming under the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. The IRS commissioner is warning they won't have the manpower to answer all the phone calls next year when the new health care law shows up on people's tax returns. In fact, the commissioner says they don't have enough people to answer the phones right now for this tax season, even before Obamacare goes into full effect. The staffing issues come after Congress slashed the agency's budget in recent years. And according to the same commissioner, the White House added to the IRS budget this year to help fix the problems. Congress then pulled the plug on that spending. Mike Emanuel, live with the news for us in Washington. Mike, this commissioner has a list of complaints.
Well, that's right, Harris. The new IRS chief says money and resources are definitely a problem. John Koskinen says they have 150 people working to provide documents to investigators looking into the targeting of conservative groups by the IRS. And Koskinen says customer service is suffering due to a lack of manpower. A former IRS commissioner is sympathetic.
The new commissioner is going to have to make some tough choices because there just isn't quite enough money to go around, and he's going to have to pare back certain areas, and the level of service, the ability to get through on the phone, on the phones, that's at levels not seen since the 90s, which caused quite an uproar. So this is a real challenge, and the American people deserve better. So I'd like to see Congress give more money to the service.
At this point, that seems rather unlikely, Harris.
You know, it's interesting because you've got those needs on the one hand with the phone calls and everything else and finding money in the budget to do that. Yet the IRS is now taking some heat because it did have money for executives' travel expenses.
Well, that's right, Harris. An Inspector General's report says some senior IRS executives should have paid taxes on expenses they ran up for out-of-town travel for work. In a statement, the IRS says, quote, cutting costs is a top priority, and the IRS has put in place a number of steps to reduce expenses involving executive travel. The IRS agreed with TIGTA, the Inspector General's recommendations, and has put in place new steps to prevent future issues in this area. A leading critic in Congress says this just shows the IRS cannot be trusted.
Now they're going to have a greater role in Obamacare with a website that's not secure and all the problems we've already seen with this legislation. Certainly doesn't instill a lot of confidence in the minds of taxpayers and citizens across the country.
Jordan says millions of Americans would not dare underreport on their taxes, but IRS executives were doing it. Harris?
Very interesting. And already a contentious relationship because most people don't really like to get a call from the IRS. Michael Emanuel, good to see you.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.